All right, and let me know what you're trying to do.
Uh, I have three areas here that I want to hatch.
Mm-hmm.
I've hatched the road right of way,
Okay.
and I've hatched what I'm calling an apparent gap. But I also have an area here that I want to hatch, which is an area of unknown ownership. This property is a real mess.
Wow.
And then I want to hatch an area that they're using to pull their car off.
Okay. All right. So that mechanically is not a problem to do as but you may be running into issues like maybe little gaps that you can't find if it's not hatching, or just maybe how to go about doing it, or maybe even just choosing a particular pattern or shade.
That's the problem I have is the pattern, the right pattern and shade to pick.
Okay.
I'm good with this, and I had labeled this before I created the hatch, so it left that in there, but that's okay.
Well, you
Uh,
can actually, that's actually text that has a mask on it. Or if you double click the road hatch itself, just the hatch, and they'll look at its,
oh, I have to do it on the model, I guess.
oh yeah, well, now if you double click it, now you see that up there in the upper right where it says normal outer and ignore, now it's grayed. Let me see. Diane, you're here. Come here.
Draw a boundary around it.
No, the text has the mask behind it.
Yeah.
Is there a switch in the hatch properties that turns that off?
The text has the match.
There's text in here that's got a mask behind it. It cuts out
I
the,
would I would set the text to not display and just select it, right click.
all right, so cancel this, Mike. I've got the real expert on it here. She does this every day.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
It's a workaround. It's a pain in the butt, but I think
All right,
it'll
so
work
just
for you.
click on the tags.
Select the text
And
right click.
right click, and what does that do if you right click?
And you want to, oh, it's not
He wants,
there.
no, he wants to just not display it for now.
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
hide.
All right, so click
it not there?
escape, Mike, and clear your selection. You have to do it different, Carlson.
Oh, I didn't realize.
And yeah, go ahead and press escape. Now go up to the view menu and pull down and choose. It's right. It's two commands above the middle line where it says show hide by selection. And sit hide by selection. Okay, choose that and then pick your text. Now hit enter to finish that.
Dang it,
Okay.
it's still there.
All right. So what it is then is he's got island detection on for this, apparently. All right, Mike, go back up. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me make this quicker. I'm gonna go ahead and ask for remote control. All right, now I'm gonna go back up here and turn everything back on.
I think what you can do is just get rid of your mask.
Yeah, I
Get rid
thought
of your
there's
mask.
a thing over here upside like a property. I thought it had a mask. Maybe is that,
In AutoCAD there is.
oh, it's text, it's not M text.
Can you make it M text?
Yeah. Let me do that again here.
I have a feeling I'm not being helpful.
That's all right. Just you're very helpful.
You're used to that.
All right, so now that's, no, see, it's not with the text.
Now can you, it's not with the text.
No, the boundary was actually, see there? Ah, I see, I
Just
see.
pinch that
Yep,
there.
yep. So now that we got that, we just treat that like a little window. And then we send that to the back.
Yes. But what happened to the rest of your text? Oh, it's there.
Well, except now we've still got it as an M text. So let's,
Why are there two?
why there's two parentheses there today.
There's supposed to be, there's,
Oh, I see.
Oh,
West
there it is.
Virginia. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. All right. So that got that. All right. Thank you.
So what I would do is place that text without a window, without a mask,
Well,
hide it, then do my hatch, and then just make sure it's on the top.
yeah, I
That way
normally,
you don't have to
I normally only display my boundaries and then it's not worried about it. But yeah, the problem is the hatching, when you go to hatch something, if you have that island detection, there's a, see, if you run a hatch command and let's say somewhere here is, Diane's heading back to her toy box, so she said bye. So anyway, there's a setting here. And these island detections, and when it sees that text, that's when it puts that border around it.
so you
So,
have to click ignore.
well, yeah, but sometimes you want it to find islands because it's not just text. So like if I were going to hatch this inner property here, but I didn't want to hatch this pond or whatever that is,
Yeah, it's a pond.
island detection, if I pick out here, it goes from wherever you pick and it goes toward, goes out to where it finds boundaries. It finds that boundary and stops as it's going here. But here, of course, it stops here and then over here it keeps going. And so it'll fill all this stuff in and then leave that unhatched. And that's what's called an island. And when you do that, it's going to, um, create that hatch as if it were a polyline shape. And it had that one, you saw that rectangle, except they're grouped together. That's called a group hole or a region. All right, so now we need to hatch right in here. Is that correct? And right in here,
That whole,
that little red. Okay, now is that supposed to be coincident with the right of way here?
no,
Okay. All right. So now you just want to hatch this entity.
yes.
Okay.
Well,
So,
and I want to hatch this entity and a different hatch.
all right, but do you want to hatch this side of it all the way down through this corner, or do you want to stop at
Yes,
this edge?
all the way down to all the way down to here.
So you'll have two hatches that overlap.
Yes.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
that possible?
It is, yeah. And you can do those as either varying patterns or you can do it by varying levels of transparency. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see, you've got and your roadway and this other one up here, this up here, those appear to be solid. Oh, maybe
No, that one, I don't think
the
I
road
don't
might
think that
be
one is solid.
this one. Yeah, that one's got that. So you notice the scale. Now, what's your scale set to right now? 50?
Yeah,
So that will change that to look like that. And this one, if it's solid, it is. So it doesn't, the scale won't have any effect on that. So now, what we want to sketch or shade now is between here, the right of way, everything else separate. And then we want to hatch this little boundary here, right?
yes.
Okay. So what we want to do, what makes, all right, so what we want to do
There's
is,
the spring symbol I picked, by the way.
this is what? Oh, there you go. All right, so now, so what we want to do is instead of worrying about all this island detection necessarily, is we want to restrict what we see to just the things that we know are going to be the edges. And that's like that command you just used before. So if you go to the view menu,
Go to what?
or if you've got the toolbars out, you see this the where you freeze and isolate and all that with your layers, that's your layer toolbar.
Yeah.
If you use that, it's these last three over here. You see there's hide by selection, isolate
Yeah.
by selection, or show all.
Yeah.
That's the same as if you go view, show hide by selection. Okay, so
Okay.
see the icons. So
Yeah.
let's isolate by selection. I'm gonna let you drive so you get the muscle menu or muscle memory. So isolate by selection, which is that hides it. The next one, isolate. So click. Now click once on each of those edges. You want the polyline, that's right. Get the other one up there. And get the edge over there. And as long as they meet, now that should be all you need. So just hit enter to finish. Okay, now you're going to put a hatch in that gap right there that you know, where you want to do it. So just run your hatch command and make sure you're on the layer that you want to be on and all that. You're on the layer called annotation right now.
Oh, no. Let's see, what should I call that? Uh, call that
Well,
boundary unknown. Let me
no,
see if I've got that.
past the B's. There's your boundary, boundary lots FC, boundary calc. There we go. All right. And give it a color if you wish, and all that stuff. I mean, white will be fine if you're just putting a hatch on it because you can change the color of your hatch if you want. So now it is now current. Okay, so we're going to run your hatch command. And now before you do anything click-wise, just choose the pattern that you want. And if you want it also solid, but a different thing, then you could uh,
What do you recommend? Do you have a recommendation?
well, because we're going to get into these overlaps, and also because PDFs sometimes are a little leery about printing transparencies, let's try to see if we can get it clear with the pattern. So I like the one that you already have chosen that you did for the other side. So just click off of that, leave it set to ANSI 31. Just no, yeah, just press this. There you go. So you're going to leave that pattern, but look at the angle. See where it says 0? If you pull that down and choose 45, I think maybe. So that will make it go what will look like it's horizontal on this layout. And your 50 scale, and there's your color, and that's all good to go. You're going to set default to the extents, and you're going to in the options, you want to make that associative. Yeah, you want to make that associative
Or options
right there.
associated?
Yeah. So that way, if the boundaries move, it'll go with it.
Okay.
And you could make it annotative, which means if you change the scale and replot this, it will resize the spacing on the patterns. So that's not bad to do. And then you also, now, it turns off the associativity. Eh. Well, uncheck annotative then and leave associative on. Now, the next one, create separate hatches, we don't need to worry about because you're just going to make this one. But sometimes if you set things up where you can just, click and you're making 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, or 6 different kind of areas, you can tell it to make separate hatches. Or if you don't do that, they're all grouped together as a single hatch. So right now it'll have no effect for us. And the layer you see, you've got use current, that's fine. And transparency is use current and it's set to 0, that's fine. And now for island detection, right now that won't matter. You can just uncheck it and it will stay grayed out like that because there's nothing in there for it to detect. And then um, the boundary retention block, you see that underneath the island detection?
Yeah,
That is, if you do this, it's going to create, and if you turn that on and say you want to save it as a polyline, it's going to create the border around that as a single closed polyline that works just like the boundary command that is sort of the back way of thinking of the shrink wrap command. But anyway, we don't need it. So we're going to leave that unchecked. Everything's good to go. Now you want to pick internal. There you go. Perfect. And that'll go out of your way. Just pick in there. It shows you what it looks like. You hit enter to finish. And say, okay. I told you it's going to look like it's horizontal, but it's not. It's going to look like it's vertical. So now, if you go back to the toolbar where you isolated and hit the far right where it says show everything, it'll turn those back on. So now you can see they're a different orientation, or you could change the scale of one versus the other. And anytime you want to change any of that stuff like that, the one up at the north, the unknown property, if you double click that, for instance, yeah, no, down in the, right there, yeah, double click the hatch itself. See, anytime you draw a hatch, if you double click it, you can open this up and change it. So you could see that's where it says scale 50. If you
yeah.
make that a scale 25 or a scale, whatever, you can, obviously you'll see the difference between. And now hit OK. And now you see it's definitely different from the one below, even though it's the same pattern, but it's at a different angle and a different spacing, a different scale. So just set those to however you want to make them look like.
Looks what it
Okay.
looks like on the plot. Okay, well, that one's not really showing up very well.
Well, it's because of the 252 color. So if you double click, and now well, you could do it. Okay, the one. All right, so you can just, yeah, double click it. And now over there where you see that it says color 254,
Yeah,
yeah, make that brighter. Go down and choose select color. And see, 254 is like the lightest you could be. I would go to the left and maybe even, yeah, try that one.
that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, what is that? 252 or 1? I think that's 2. If you click it, yeah, 252. Say okay, and then okay, and then you could say in the upper one also, I would make that one a 252. Now you can also, without having to, okay, and you say you can also just change that in its properties over on the left, but that's fine too. You can choose select color, make that 252, and that'll make those show up a little better. All right, now we're going to want to isolate, or we're going to want to hatch now that last little property by itself. And so you can do that a couple of ways. You can isolate that and pick inside it. That's fine too. But one of the options when you do a hatch is you can just hatch an entity. And if it is a closed figure, it will just hatch itself. And so what I would do with this one is,
Yeah,
uh,
it is closed.
yeah, yeah. So I would make that one a solid so that it shows through the hatching on the other one over there, but also we want its color to be a little lighter than the other one. So the other ones, and we want it behind it. I'll show you when we get it. Go ahead and just hatch it. So you're going to hatch and change that to solid and make its color 253 at least. Let's try. Okay. And Now let's see. Now what we're going to do is we're going to up at the top where it says boundaries, where it says add pick internal parts.
Mhm.
And you click that one below it, that right there. That's the one we're going to pick. So we click that and then we choose that. Go ahead and hit enter. And now, before you leave this, make sure let's see, we want to make sure it goes to send behind boundary. Pull that draw order where it says send behind boundary, right in the middle of the screen. Pull that down and choose send to back, because you want it underneath the one that's got the stripes. All right, go ahead and say okay. All right, so now you see the one sits over top of the other, and you can
Yeah.
see it. So we might even, now go to your final plat and see if it's distinct enough. Maybe we need to make the
No,
this.
that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think that works. I think so.
Yeah.
And you may want to change the angle or the scale on that upper one, like if you wanted to make it go horizontal, just change that to a -45 angle and put your scale back to 50, and then you would see horizontal lines on the top one, vertical lines in the bottom one. So, and you can do all that from paper space. You can just double click inside it. But so yeah, pull that down or the angle and scale. So the angle, so a -45 is what, 135? I think 135. We'll try that one. I think you can just type a number, but we'll leave it like that. And pull that 25 down and put it back to 50. Or just type 50. Yeah, and say okay. There you go. So you see now it looks like that. If that's what you want, you may want to put it back to that 45-degree angle. That looked probably better, I think, than the horizontal. It's up to you.
45.
Yeah, it's just whatever you think. Now you see the properties on the left in the properties box, all the,
Yes.
all the way to the left. You can change a lot of those in there as well. You don't necessarily have to double click this, but this lets you see everything. So,
Okay.
because you see that, yeah, and it shows that angle now as a bearing north
That was
45.
what, 45?
So if you put it as, no, 45 will match the other one. That's what we did the other one at, and that made it vertical. So put it at 0 and it makes it look like it's drawn at a 45-degree angle.
This was 25.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even if you try this and let's take a look at what it looks like. So you
Oh,
see,
that's pretty good.
yeah, see, it's different, but it's not, it still has some angle to it.
Yeah.
Now, the the reason that is 0 is that the hatch pattern itself is defined as being along a 45-degree line. That's the way the pattern is when it's not rotated. So when
Okay.
you rotate it to 45, it takes that 45-degree angle orientation and rotates it up to be straight up. That's why over on the ownership unknown parcel, they look vertical. It's not the angle of the line, it's the angle of the pattern that you choose. And you choose the pattern, you see that the lines are 45 degrees. So,
Right.
so it at 0 degrees rotation makes 45-degree lines, if that makes sense.
Yes.
All right. All right. So make sure if you're done in that model space to click out of it on this. Of course, you got more that you may need to do. How is that got what you need? Or
Say, let's got it on this one. I have another question about a different job.
all right.
Let me go ahead and close Davies for a minute. Okay, this the city of, I've been hired by the city of Charlestown to draw a plat for them of property that they want to annex into the city. And
Uh-huh.
it's about 300 acres.
Okay.
And it goes all the way from here, all the way down around here and back up.
Okay.
Uh, so I've got it at 1 inch to 500 feet, and I still can't get it all in. Now I changed. This was a lot bigger, and I changed it to make it smaller.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so well, we can do a couple of things here. Is it like almost big enough? It looks like it's
It's
almost,
close. It's
okay.
close.
So what I would do is let's up our viewport, make it bigger. So if you click on that red and just grab the corner and stretch it down. Okay, now, um,
What's that?
that's
Oh, that's the
the boundary of the image or
yeah,
something.
probably.
Yeah, the next tile. All right, so now if you press, you see where it says display is locked? It says yes. Go there
Yes.
and let's unlock it, but we're not going to change the scale. So you got to be careful here, all right? But I'm going to let you do it here. And say no. And now carefully double click inside the frame. And now very carefully press and hold the wheel and drag it. You're going to pan. You don't want to wiggle the wheel because you don't want to change the scale. So drag it to where you can think you can get everything to show up. Now, if you got that, double click quickly outside the window.
Yeah,
And now,
it's still not quite there. I guess maybe I'm going to have to rotate the drawing
well,
some.
or we could even go, make it go down a little further. Just make your window a little bigger. It's up to you, whatever you'd like to. If you want to rotate it, that's fine. But
So
that
what
can
should I
go,
do? Drag that over there and drag it down this way?
well, I would just drag it straight down because it's showing white space. See, there's nothing in the model that's going to right over top of it, so just drag it straight down.
Not dragging.
Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah.
should I lock it again?
Yes, yes, that would be a good thing to do. All right, now click there and you should click off of it. All right, now there you go. Now go and
Well, once we go to the end of that,
well, here, let me see if we select that, uh, grab that. Now I just want to go straight down like this.
oh, okay.
Now let me bring this up out of here though, because that's a little too far. Ah, oh, I see what it's doing. It's snapping to its own end point. So there now, if we do that and then we do this same deal, we're going to select it, unlock it, double click inside of it, and then very carefully pan it down. Are we trying to get that corner up there? Right there?
Yeah, that does it right there, and that in the bottom corner's in.
Is that in also?
Yeah,
Okay, so then we would select this and lock it again. Now you can lock it over there or you can lock it down here on the toolbar. You see that little padlock?
yeah,
So that'll do that. Now, because this is also this uh viewport is on a layer called viewports.
yeah.
Okay. If you look at our layer definition, when we set up our uh drawing templates, we created a layer called viewports, and we said right over here, you see that's been X'd right there. We told it to not plot.
Yeah.
So even though we see it, it won't plot when we go to plot it. Now you can also make viewports non-rectangular. So we could have come down here and over and up and across, or up at an angle. You can do that, but there's nothing wrong with doing this if there's nothing in the model that'll show up. So it'll look just like blank paper. So that's fine.
Okay,
All right, so that's locked and loaded. Yeah, so yeah, cool beans. Uh, so yeah, and I would maybe consider, depends, you'll have to see, because if this presents well, like I'm gonna guess you're gonna need a line and curve table maybe, um, at this scale anyway. But you may just show this as an overview and then make another couple of plats at say 100 scale and you know with a match line one to the next so that you can see all the particulars. But um, whatever works. If it's just a matter of getting this to show up as a boundary over a photo so they can see what it looks like, then you're done. Um, I mean, I'd turn on the boundary lines and make them nice and visible. But okay, so what next on that?
that's it.
That it? Hey,
Yep,
we came in ahead of time. We didn't crash and burn at 4:30. So,
nope.
all righty. Well, that was good. That worked out to about an even half hour. That'll be nice.
Well, have a good weekend and thank you very much for
You're
finding
welcome.
the time.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I really had the time and my back just started giving me such fits. And then I get behind on what I'm supposed to have been doing for this other guy. And then, it's the cat chasing its tail.
Yeah,
So,
I understand.
yeah. But anyway, I appreciate your patience on that. So I will wish you a good weekend and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
You take care.
You
All right.
too. Bye.